Hello, Facebook friends, YouTube friends, Instagram. I don't know who's on, but I am so excited to be here today. We have a very important session that I know is on a lot of people's minds. It is Tuesday, August 11th, and we are lucky enough to have Superintendent Dan Stepenosky from Las Virgenes with us today. So welcome.
Thank you.
So on everybody's mind is what's happening with the schools and, what was the final decision and when are we opening? Kind of give us a quick, summary of what's happening on August 19th.
Sure. So school starts next Wednesday, August 19th, and we're excited about that. We have two options for families. They could choose a virtual academy option, so they would be staying virtual at least until the semester break. And then families who wanted to could choose an on-campus option. About 4 weeks ago, we made the decision, the governor made the decision that none of us would be starting on campus. So folks who chose on campus, we're calling that distance learning for now, hoping they're going to get on campus at some point. And those who chose our virtual academy will stay there at least until the semester. So we're hard at work getting that ready, launching on the 19th. We're excited. This is not how we want to start. We've been aggressive in trying to be on campus. We've spent almost $1 million in safety and health upgrades, PPE, plexiglass, thermal scanners. So we were all in on opening and we'll remain that way. But obviously the numbers aren't there for us yet, but we remain optimistic that we'll get on campus in some capacity.
So obviously people had a choice of choosing on which way they want to go. Do you have a percentage of breakdown on how that's going to look like? And what do you expect most families to be doing? And also, can you break it down? Is it different for elementary, middle, and high school? Because there's different requirements and needs.
Sure. We had about 80% of our parents chose the on-campus model and 20% chose the virtual academy model, which surprised us. It was a little higher on the on-campus model. All of our schedules, that's a big question, are at LVUSDupdates.org. So I know you said you could throw up some websites there for people. So LVUSDupdates.org has all kinds of information, all of our different webinars. We did several webinars over the summer for our parents. We did weekly webinars for our staff to stay in touch with updates as things changed. And so that's a great place to see our model. And it's very confusing because if we were on campus, we were looking at an AM, PM model. We were doing 5 days a week. I know some districts only looked at 4 and we're going to have like Fridays off. We didn't want to reduce the amount of instruction time at all. So if we were on campus, there was an AM and PM model. We are not on campus, so you got to kind of push that to the side right now. And so we're virtual, and all of our virtual schedules are up there, much more structure, much more instructional time, all clear expectations. Because in the spring, when we closed down on March 13th, it was sort of a crisis situation, and we all dove into it together. We saw it coming for about 2 weeks in advance, and we started getting ready and started training teachers on Zoom and Google Meets and the different platforms. And so Las Virgenes was able to, we only stayed closed 3 days, then reopened. Many districts stayed closed for 3, 6, and 8 weeks. We just said, let's go. We don't know how long this is going to last, and let's dive in. And the teachers were amazing, and the parents were amazing. So heading back into it, we're all disappointed to be back into it. You can help us open our schools by wearing your mask, by remaining distant, by following all the guidelines. That keeps you and your family safe. The mask keeps others safe, but also new medical science showing that it keeps you safe as well. So wear those masks, follow those guidelines, remain socially distant. I know it's not the way we want to spend our summer. It's not the way we want to spend our fall, but you can do those things by helping us open. So our virtual schedule is every day. We're all dialed into it, and staff's worked hard, and I couldn't be more proud of them. And we are ready to do our best for the kids. Now, social emotional wellness is an important part of that, right? So we have a community 360 counseling center, which is critical. And we launched them last year to help families out. They'll be relaunching again as well. And they do virtual sessions, and we have MFTs, and our counseling staff is amazing. And they interact and work with the entire family. So it's quite a challenge, but we're again rising to it and going to have an amazing counseling staff available for everybody.
Are you doing, obviously, let's talk about K through 6 elementary, right? K through 6, different requirements, cutting, different skills that they're developing, learning how to read. Did the kids all get iPads, computers? How are teachers going to help those kids develop and not fall behind? Are you concerned about that early development falling behind? And what are teachers doing to be able to make sure that the kids don't fall behind, or identify the ones that are falling behind?
Yeah, it's a huge part of what we're looking at. So we are a one-to-one district several years before the pandemic, so that was beneficial. We used Acers. Acers are a computer, about a $300 or so device. So it's good. It's not it's not an Apple. It's not a $3,000 computer. It's not a $2,000 computer. But it enabled us to get that to all the families that need it. So we've got, I think we just ordered another 700 of the newest versions. So and we're hoping to get those in soon. So we didn't use iPads or those sorts of things. We stayed away from that. But we are a one-to-one district, which was a huge benefit as we launched last spring, and as we continue from a distance perspective. Yeah, the Zooms are a challenge, especially for TK students, first and second grade. They are a real challenge, and our kinder teachers have to rise to it. And parents are a huge partner here. It's a huge challenge for parents. It's a huge additional requirement. I mean, the parents, there's no way to sugarcoat it. They have to be involved. They have to be way more engaged as a part of it than before. And I totally understand what that's like and the challenge that represents. Our class sizes there are 22 to 24 maximum, so it's a good ratio. If we can get on campus and do an AM PM session, you've got 12 kids or less per session, so that's real workable. But no one knows when that will happen. But that's if and when we can get on campus. We want to start with our TK through third grade for all the reasons you just mentioned.
So they're full day TK through third grade right now, virtual. And if it doesn't work out, like, are you going to be reevaluating? Like, the kids can't sit still, they're not focused, and potentially having to go half days on. And and I'm just going to throw it out there. What about parents who are dual income and that are working? And
huge impact on them. Yeah. So we have our schedules on LVUSDupdates.org. So all the schedules are there for people to look at. And there's the website again. Childcare, we've also worked closely with our childcare providers in the area, Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, City of Calabasas. So they do have programs on our school. They've been open for the entire summer. We allowed them, or we're able to allow them to reopen. So they are there and able to help and provide and support those families. Childcare is a huge issue and a huge impact, and why schools do impact the economy. If you've got, both families are working or multiple kids, it is it's tough. It's challenging. My heart breaks and goes out to our parents and our staff. It's not the way. We didn't sign up to be on cameras all the time. That wasn't why people got into education, and the teachers feel that.
What did the teachers have to do this summer to get themselves ready? Some are going to be more ready than others. So what kind of training did you have to have for teachers?
So we did have some voluntary training available all summer long on a bunch of different topics and platforms and availability. And that was awesome stuff. And we had probably almost 150 or so participate in that. We have about another 19 hours of professional development planned for our staff, much of it focused on being as effective as possible on a distance platform. Different strategies and techniques on being engaging, individualizing instruction, checking in, working effectively with small groups. Obviously, just sitting and talking into a camera isn't the greatest way for anyone to learn or be engaged. So got a lot of good stuff out there. Also pushing out some parent resources as well to support them.
I mean, it's not easy for the teachers and the staff and the parents and the kids. I mean, this is just, it's not easy for anybody, and there is no roadmap to this. And I think but you're going to have high expectations, a lot of parents who are hovering over their children and education and expectations. How will we be handling just kind of feedback, input, challenges, criticisms, opportunities?
Always opportunities for growth and improvement. It's a huge part. We need the parents to be engaged. We need the parents to be on top. I've got a rising sophomore and junior, and we've got to do the same thing with them. That they took some online classes this summer, so same situation. But yeah, we need parents involved and engaged. And if they have questions, email the teacher right away. And work through the teacher, and/or if questions or concerns continue, email that principal, right away. That dialogue, that interaction is more important than ever. I mean, teachers and parents always need to support each other and interact for kids to be successful. Kids win. When we're working together, the kids win. It's really simple. But in the distance learning situation where the teacher can't be in that same room with the kid, that connection, communication is even more important. So do not hesitate to jump on that email or phones.
That's a big message, because I do think that interaction that, my kids went through the district, and I think that constant communication with teachers and being able to be a partner, like we can't just put it all on the teachers that they have to teach the kids. This is partnership all the way through. And especially now, and I know it's trying times for everybody. It's trying times for working. What kind of budget cuts did you have to go through, and what are you doing for aid and financial, and how's the district doing financially?
So before finances, one last piece on it though. We do have staff on our campuses, our principals, our administrators, our counselors, plant managers, office managers. So we do have staff on our campuses. Teachers, unlike the spring, teachers can teach from the classroom. We'd love to see it. It's not a requirement, but if they'd like to, and a number of teachers have expressed interest in that, so they can be providing lessons, especially if you're in a science classroom, that kind of thing. Then you have full access to everything in the classroom. So that's the good news. That's different than the spring. Are
you allowing any students to come in and do lab work, or in groups of 2 or 4 for social distancing, or is that not allowed?
No, we're not doing that yet. We're not really cleared for that yet, obviously, with the county guidelines. Hopefully we can get to a place where we've got kids on campus, but that's not where we are now. The finances are tough. I mean, the economy matters, and if the economy doesn't do well, that it's impacted by schools. So we are looking right now at least about a $3 million reduction from last year. We have received some grants. We've been aggressive in going after grants, which have helped fund probably about $750,000 of the $1 million we've spent. But yeah, it's tough to have this whole new layer of expenses relative to safety and health while the economy is struggling, and our funds are being cut at the same time. So it's a real challenge for everybody. The privates are facing challenges, and of course all the public schools. About 1,000 school districts up and down the state of California. So we're tightening our belt and working smarter, and communicating often with our political figures, assembly members, state senators, even congressmen. I've been on conversations with all of them, emphasizing, how critical public schools are to the economy and to the public health. And kids don't get to do kindergarten over again. They don't get, my sophomore and junior, they don't get to come back and do these years over again. This is their shot. And it's important for us to get it right and work hard.
Are you in touch? Because there's a lot of districts that have already opened. Oak Park already opened. Are you in touch at all to learn what they've done well? Are you guys all working together as far as sharing and learning from their experiences? How was first day? What are they learning from this? Because we're Las Virgenes, but we also Oak Park and Conejo. We're a triangle. We're right here.
We do. We talk all the time. We've got text message strain. I think they're texting me right now. So we compare notes, and they've been a tremendous resource, and hopefully we've been able to help them out. We all lift each other up. Probably through all of this, the picking other superintendents' brains has been the most valuable piece, because there's hasn't always been clear guidance, or yeah, we'll leave it at that.
It changes daily, and what we know today is going to change tomorrow. That's what we've learned.
Yeah, that's a great point. Every time I've done a webinar, I say, I promise things will change. And I promise you, something you don't want will change. Like, people are like, okay, yeah, change. And then they're upset when something they liked changes. So I have to add, things will change, and something you like that you don't want to change will change. So that's an important, flexibility, being nimble, perseverance, and grit. These things matter. There's a lot of challenges to the environment we're in, but there are opportunities as well within it. There was a great piece, I think, in the LA Times yesterday about the advantages. Kids are learning how, they're watching us, they're watching the adults, they're watching adults around them, their teachers. How are we responding to this new world? How are we being flexible? How are we adopting, being innovative and creative with our challenges, and how are we reacting to it? And so there's a lot of real world lessons here for us. Obviously, we want to be careful and age appropriate to how much information kids get, relative to the challenges we experience. High schoolers can handle a lot more information and are, and can consume their own media. So we have to be smart about it. But even in the challenge, even in these times, there are opportunities that weren't there before.
I mean, I think a lot of it is the kids are learning how to public speak. If they're doing what we're doing and they're going to have to get up in front of their peers, and just, we had a couple kids on last spring as it was closing down and shutting down, and the sophistication that the kids were having and having to share, and how they present themselves. I mean, I saw that as a huge opportunity, and I think we also have to look at the glass half full. I mean, we're all in this together, and nobody is doing it any differently, right? This is just the way it is, and we all have to take from it. I think the biggest question is just that the kids emotionally can continue to grow, and the younger ones need that socialization. They're not going to be playing sports. They lost their summer camp. They're not getting together with their watching football games at, high school, Calabasas or Agora or wherever. I mean, there's a lot that they're not going to develop, and we're all going to have to see what happens from that. I think the question is, from how can parents support you? What do you expect from parents? Just kind of fundraising, from financial support. Are you still going to be doing fundraising? Is the school going to be doing it? I know the district used to do a big event that didn't happen this year. What can we be putting out there for you to help the district survive?
Sure, a couple things. When we closed down schools, we continued our support of free and reduced lunch to our families. We have about 800 families in Las Virgenes that qualify for free and reduced. Some neighborhood districts, I think, did not do that. They stopped. And so those families are coming to us also, which we're happy to continue. So that's something we're continuing, and families have reached out to support that effort. So we appreciate that. Families have come from the Valley. Families have come from Conejo Valley and Woodland Hills, both valleys. So that's out there. The foundation is launching a fundraising effort right now. So the Foundation for Las Virgenes Schools, you can Google them and support them. That's awesome. Each school has its own PFC and PFA. Those are parent faculty clubs and parent faculty associations. They're starting their annual drives and their fundraising right now. So supporting them is huge. That's directly supporting our students as well. So those are a few ideas off the top of my head. The other piece too, back to adversity and opportunity. The students were awesome. When it happened, we launched a student tutoring service that was a number of districts jumped on also. And so we'll do that again. And that's a wonderful opportunity. Thanks for putting that website up. That was a wonderful opportunity for our high schoolers to grow and support the elementary and middle age students. Both my kids did it. We had at least over 100 high schoolers participate. It was just a great growth opportunity for them and a chance for them to be supportive of students. And it's a great a social emotional piece for the younger kids. And you mentioned summer camps, sorry, were canceled. I think 90, if not 99% were canceled, right? And so we launched summer camps as well. We did Harry Potter camps, baking camps. My daughter did like a craft camp where they recycled trash bags and magazines and made jump rope and shrinky dink jewelry, all kinds of cool stuff. And the baking camps were so much fun. So our students did respond, and they're so awesome, and launched this effort. And so we're going to continue that. So if students, if you've got a elementary school age student or middle school student, we will have information coming out soon about those tutoring supports. And we're actually going to have our tutors offer support to 1 or 2 or 3 students at a time to force multiply it. And that's just huge. Even if it's just, like my son did read books to elementary school students, just a chance to interact with a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old. We vet them, we check them. So these are mature, responsible students, but that's just so cool. Kindergartners, they think, high schoolers are almost superheroes. And so that's a real cool opportunity out there as well.
I love that, but it also gives that 15-year-old so much pride because they're teaching and they're a role model. And I mean, that it goes both ways. I mean, the younger one looks up, but that 15-year-old is building their confidence. That's huge. So
we're all lifting each other up. It's huge.
And is there a website you said that there's going to be a website that parents can go to and you can find the student homework helpers, and is there a website that they can reach out to?
Yeah, probably the school district website, LVUSD.org, is the best place to go. We don't have the student tutoring link up there yet. There's a lot of links on the right-hand side. You've got meal information if you're a family that needs meal support. We've got the counseling center link there to the right-hand side. So LVUSD.org is probably the best place to go. We haven't reopened the counseling piece yet. We're busy getting the school launched and building the schedules right now. But we'll have that information probably out definitely within the next 2 weeks.
I love it. And so obviously it's just going to be rolling information coming out, and you're going to learn a lot in the next 2 weeks to, launching first day of school. What can parents expect first day? Any advice you want to give the parents on the first day of school?
Sure. Being engaged is huge. Being a partner is engaged. Communicating frequently with the teacher is huge. Huge part of student success. Back to school nights, they're going to be virtual. And really, to be candid, the challenge now is last year we had relationships with the students when we shut down on March 13th. We have to build the relationships virtually. I mean, that's a huge piece of this. And we're paying special attention to our kinders, our 6th grade and our 9th grade, because they're new to a whole new school, right? And this isn't how we wanted them to start middle or high school or elementary school, but it's where we are, and we need to pay special attention to them. So our principals are working on, since we can't high five each other, since we can't be in the same room with each other, we're going to work the phones a lot more, and write notes to each other as well, and connect, via snail mail. Every little connection we can make is huge.
And obviously, we are seeing a lot of new families moving into the area. They're moving and they came here for schools or housing or backyards or office space. How do new students can get acclimated, and how do they meet new people? Have you thought about anything special for new students to the area?
Sure. Our principals have done webinars. Agora and Calabasas both did webinars just last week that were open for everyone. I think we had several hundred participants, a chat box with questions, all kinds of stuff. So I think webinars have been our most effective tool for connecting and that sort of thing. And so we will continue to have those available. And it's a great way for the principal, the assistant principals, connect directly with parents and students. They're open to parents and students. Our coaches have done those as well. We're doing virtual tryouts in that arena. Our performing arts is a huge part of our heart and soul in Las Virgenes. And our teachers are showing a wonderful flexibility for the on-campus distance learning and virtual students to potentially collaborate together and all participate together so that we're maximizing those sort of elective performing and fine arts options for our kids. It's exciting to see we're all in together. None of us are happy about it. But for me, I mean, sometimes, I if I start to, I mean, I'm generally an optimist. I try to be a brutally optimistic person. So I don't ignore the reality we face, but remain on the optimistic side. And so I think if I get a little down about it, I just focus on what we have. And we have a ton of blessings. This is an amazing community, a lot of support. The parents are wonderful. The community support. It's safe. The corona, we are able to distance here, so the coronavirus impact on our community has been far better than many communities, and that's critical. And so I think it's just important to focus on what we have and celebrate that and cherish that. Certainly, coronavirus is impacting many, many families and their health and their well-being and the economy. So it's not a great situation. Being realistic, being safe about it, being smart, and focusing on the positives, I think is great. And this is temporary. This will pass. I'm optimistic about medical science. My brother's a radiologist. I've got strong partners. I'm on the board for West Hills Hospital. Kaiser Permanente has been a tremendous partner. We're a client of Kaiser Permanente, and their infectious disease specialists have been made available to us as we've built our plans to get students back on campus. So a lot of positives out there, a lot of partnership, a lot of support, and we realize our role to be able to build community and connections in the face of our global pandemic. And we appreciate that role, and we understand that role. We're humbled by it, and it drives our commitment to the community and our students.
I mean, hats off to you and your staff and your people, because this has not been an easy undertaking, and you have not had the summer that nobody's had the summer that they wanted to have. And I know you've been working very hard behind the scenes to get all the change. Every day it's a new rule on campus, off campus, what we're going to do. But in closing, I am very thankful that the district has worked so hard. All the districts around us are keeping the schools. And I really appreciate, and I hope every parent understands, this is not easy for anybody to be going through. And we just need to be patient with each other. Teachers need to be patient. Students need to be patient, staff needs to be patient, parents need to be, and it's sometimes a lot easier said than done. And I understand that. And, remember that we're all in this together, and we are all in this together, and mistakes are being made. There's no question. Mistakes are being made, and everybody, the intention is to do the right thing. And I can tell you guys are, doing the right thing and keeping everybody safe, which is the most important thing. And, schools are going to start. It is temporary, but it's a long temporary, unfortunately. The temporary isn't as short as we want it, but it's a long temporary. Is there anything in closing you want to add? I really know I appreciate your time and honesty and everything you've done. Anything in closing you want to add?
No, you nailed it. I mean, I think we need to stay positive and kind with each other. Take a moment to shoot out a kind email or a card or a note. I think small acts of kindness and staying positive, that's what we've got. That's what our kids need. Our kids need us. We know it. And we're all in. Our sleeves are rolled up. And like you said, we've been doing 10-hour days this summer to get this ready. And we're all in. Kids need us.
And on that note, thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck on August 19th. And we know we'll probably be asking you back on, winter session to see how it's going, and appreciate your time. And again, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Take care. Happy to come back anytime.